Hello, this is Ellis. This is my 5-minute video about my research essay for SCLA 102. The research topic I've chosen to do my essay over is the implications of AI in the hiring process and jobs, and whether or not AI is truly an impartial judge. The reason I've chosen to do my research essay over this is because obviously after I get out of college, I'm going to be joining the workforce and then obviously submitting applications to many different jobs. So I want to know if whether or not the jobs I'm sending to are using AI and if it is an ethical source and what companies to avoid potentially sending my essay to. I also have an interest in AI and how it's being used because I do truly believe AI can be a good tool, but in many different applications, I don't think AI should be used. And so I was wondering if this was one of those applications. My initial stance on the topic was that AI is a good tool for using in the hiring process. I believe that it can be used to remove bias because it can provide an unemotional response to uh, any applications that it's given. So it won't appeal to any emotions, nor will it appeal to any biases such as personal biases, as if the hiring personnel knew the new employee that they were potentially interviewing. So in those situations, I could see where it's definitely beneficial to have an impartial AI be the judge of these responses. But that's I when I looked into it, I found many different websites and articles online, many different websites and articles online talking about the implications of AI in the workforce. It is a very controversial topic, as I've found many articles on either sides talking about the benefits of AI and talking about the downsides. The first article I looked at was following my point of view that AI can be a tool used for good and to help the businesses with the hiring process. In this In this article, they stated that AI is quickly growing industry in the hiring process, and is by 2030 is the recruitment market is projected to be at 1.12 billion US dollars, which shows how much this market has grown over time and how much it will further grow as time goes on. And it shows how involved the world is with AI at the moment. It also says that many companies that use AI are being ungoverned in how they use AI, and they're untransparent in how they use AI. That was a big negative that I saw throughout this article, is that it keep referring to how AI needs to be regulated. That companies nowadays are not properly regulating AI, which causes problems because if employees aren't able to understand how a company is using AI and why, it's really difficult to understand if that AI is truly being biased or not. Overall, that is the overall message of the first article, and it lists ways to help regulate AI in workforce, such as uh, adding transparency to how a company uses AI, and adding consistency to the AI, adding an explanation to the AI and why a company uses that, so that potential employees seeking out employers can understand if and why a company is using AI, and then they will understand how they should gear their resumes in order to remove the bias from the equation. The second article that I looked at was the opposite perspective. The article talked about the ethical implications of AI in hiring. Specifically, it talked about reasons on how AI can reproduce racial, gender, and intersectional disparities when looking to hire people. The reason that they state that these disparities are shown in AI is because they're using old data sets that have these disparities in them. And that since AI is growing so much, these data sets are an underlying problem. That while you may add more information into AI, inevitably this underlying issue can always resurface and create problems and biases in the hiring process. They said that simply fixing it, by adding, isn't going to help it, and that you would need to entirely recreate AI programs, which is their stance is, which is why they are against AI in the hiring process. But after reading both those articles, I have gained more educated perspective on my opinion on AI in the hiring process. I still do believe that AI can be a good tool, but currently I think that there needs to be much more regulation on how AI is being used. And more importantly than the regulation, companies need to be required to be completely transparent for when and why they're using AI in the workforce. I think that's the best way for us as a society to deal with the AI hiring problem, is that if companies are required to be completely transparent in their use of AI in the hiring process, and people are against that, then obviously those companies will be have less hires, left job application to be sent to them, and it'll obviously hurt their company. So then it will essentially force the companies to do uh, what is correct, what is ethically correct. But this also has a benefit, because if they can find ways to remove bias from AI, and as AI continues to develop, hopefully it can remove all biases from it, then AI in the hiring process will be a good thing. And so that transparency will then work in the opposite direction, where companies who say that they're using AI for hiring people will be searching out for them. And then therefore people who don't use AI for hiring and potentially have bias because of that will obviously get less job applications. So by forcing transparency on companies as to whether or not they use AI is, in my opinion, a great way to show both sides, help both sides, whether or not AI is good or is bad. And that is all about my essay.